I'm at the Electrify Expo in lovely Seattle, Washington. It's actually Redmond, don't tell anybody. And we are looking at the Lucid Gravity. Oh my gosh, you don't understand the absolute importance of the event, the gravity, if you will. That's why we're going to talk about it. Maybe even take a test drive. I'm Brian. Welcome to Future Housing. All right. Now we're doing the awkward thing where I pretend I'm not 3.5 feet tall. We're going to talk about the Gravity. So first of all, how has the reception been?
It's been incredible. We have a big line for Gravity test drives here, and in general, we've got lots of customers who are eagerly awaiting delivery of their Gravity.
Yeah. How many colors you got?
You know what? I can't remember the number, but I can name them all for you. So we've got green, we've got black, we've got white, silver, gray, and then a bronze color.
Do you have the legacy colors too?
Some of them are shared with the Lucid Air, but most of them are new. Aurora Green's new, the Lunar Silver is a different silver, the black is shared, but there's a few colors in the Air palette that aren't present on Gravity.
All right. Now, times are changing in terms of the supply chain. How are you doing on keeping the parts in stock, the parts flowing from some of the countries that today or tomorrow we love or hate?
Well, our team is doing an incredible job. It's obviously been a Herculean effort, and we continue to build cars, so things are good overall.
Well, and the real question is, was any part of that the cause for the slower ramp on the Gravity?
Definitely, we've had challenges in the supply chain. I can't get into specifics, we're a publicly traded company, but there have definitely been challenges, related to everything going on in the world these days.
Sure. Now, the IRA credit's going away. Battery sourcing requirements are now less critical. Where are your batteries made?
Well, actually, interestingly, tomorrow I'm headed to Kansas with our CEO to take part in the grand opening of a new battery factory from Panasonic there. So the batteries from the Gravity are currently supplied by Panasonic. They come from Japan, but in the not too distant future, they'll be coming from the US as well.
Okay, and Panasonic, one of the leaders in EV batteries, especially the high nickel ones, probably still the biggest supplier of EV batteries outside of China.
Yeah, we have a couple of different battery suppliers, all of which are great. We use Samsung SDI in the Lucid Air as well, and both are great. What's really cool about the cell that's in the Gravity here is that we actually co-developed a new chemistry with Panasonic, which is actually surprisingly rare in the auto industry, even with EVs these days. And we were able to achieve something together that neither of us would have been able to achieve on our own, obviously. And that's one of the things that gives Gravity incredible range, 450 miles of EPA rated range up to that, but also really fast charging times. So you can add 200 miles of range in under 11 minutes. And so what's cool about that Panasonic cell is it has really amazing properties for thermal capability, but also really high energy density.
Now, range, that's not important, is it?
Well, for a lot of customers, range is really important. And, with Lucid, it gives you the ability to not have to charge. It makes it, you're able to do it at a more convenient time. So when you do take road trips, it just makes it easier. And obviously we offer different models of our vehicles with different range ratings, depending on how important that is to the customer. They can go for a lower spec vehicle with a smaller battery if they want, or if you want to have it all, that's our tagline, compromise nothing. If you want to compromise nothing, you get the Grand Touring versions of our cars and you get high range and great performance.
Let's turn around so that this can be our backdrop instead.
Sure.
Because that makes more sense to me now that I think about it.
Sure does.
Now, the thing to think about with 450 miles of range is that if you're going to go just 2 hours away, you're going to come home without having charged.
Exactly.
So, do you care what the charging network is when you leave if you're not going to use it?
Yeah, exactly. It opens up a different paradigm that you can think about. And then, it makes, like, say you want to stop and use a restroom or get a coffee or even grab a bite to eat. Well, you can stop at a place still with a fast charger and plug in, but that extra 20 minutes, maybe the first 20 minutes you needed that, but the next 20 to get to 80 or 100% or where you want to be when you leave, well, you don't even have to worry anymore. You can just keep going.
Right. And that's the thing is, once you've got enough range, You stop when your bladder says so, not when you must.
Yes, that is.
So it's a different must.
That is definitely the limiting factor in most cases. And if you think about the Lucid Air Grand Touring with 512 miles of EPA rated range, I don't know about you, but going 512 miles in one stint, it'd be pretty hard for me to do.
No, I don't do that. That's too much. Then of course you've got, but you're competing with the Mercedes. This is no Mercedes, and I can tell you why. I would have had to charge twice.
Yeah, we actually, what's really cool is not only do we have more range, but if you were to try to fit a bunch of cargo in the back of the Gravity or some of our competitors, you'd realize you can fit a ton of things in the back too. And what's really cool about Gravity is that it has 7-passenger capability.
True 7-passenger.
True 7-passenger. Adults, even me, I can fit in the third row. And it's a little tight, I'm 6'5", but I have plenty of leg room, and 6'2" adult can fit back there very comfortably for a long trip. But the other really important thing there is that you can actually put the luggage for 7 people in the car at the same time, and that's really the killer app.
Let's walk back and look at that. Now I'm going to push back a little because I have a third row Model Y, and I guarantee you I could get you into that third row with minimal surgery.
Exactly.
But it would be surgery.
Exactly.
So look at the depth of that well. Oh, and those fold into it.
Exactly. So the seats basically fold flat and stow back there, and then you can cover the top with the trunk cover, and put lots of cargo back there. Super slick.
Yeah. Just got engineering into the fold mechanism.
Yeah, this is actually a prototype vehicle. It was the first car we built with Ojai interior, so it's quite a rare one, but the seats aren't the final spec. Yeah.
The music is a little less loud. That creates issues sometimes. All right. I see we've got cameras on the exterior. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so this has our Dream Drive Pro 2 system. So it's the second generation of Dream Drive. So we announced that we'll be introducing hands-free driving to the Lucid Gravity and to the Air as well. And so that's coming soon. We've got a great announcement coming about that. But it has obviously lane centering, lane keeping ability on the highway. Really cuts down on that driver fatigue, and it's a really powerful system. It has LiDAR, and expect to see a lot more from that in the future.
And you can see a camera on the B pillar. You can see a camera on here. Cameras all over. Now, how much extra does that cost?
So that particular feature in the Gravity is a pretty significant extra cost. It's around $6,000. But that adds a lot of hardware. It's got 2 NVIDIA Orin X processors that go with that, so there's redundancy. And actually, one of the other cool things about the Gravity is that the electrical architecture was set up from the beginning to be autonomous capable. So it has redundant electrical and steering systems to be able to allow us to offer that capability in the future.
So you can do over-the-air updates.
Absolutely, yeah, that's always been a part of Lucid. We're a true software-defined vehicle, and we frequently do over-the-air updates. We've had several already for the Gravity, and we have a couple in the near future coming as well.
Okay. And how many over-the-air updates has the company done total to date?
It's got to be, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but it's got to be over 100. Yeah, we do them very frequently. Some of them are small little bug fixes if we discover something, or if there's something on the back end we need to do. And then of course throughout the year we do major feature updates and add new features. And hands-free driver assist is a great example of one that's coming.
What's a recent big upgrade people have seen?
We added Android Auto capability for the Lucid Air, so that's one that we just deployed a few weeks ago. We added automatic lane change capability for the Air as well. That was recently added, and the same for Gravity.
People who've already placed an order, how long until you get through that backlog?
Well, that depends upon the specifications. So obviously we're dealing with, some components that we have ample supply of and others that are bottlenecks, and we're working through those. So, we've had a limited color palette for the Gravity. That'll be expanding as the year goes on. We've been building cars that are Aurora Green with a Tahoe interior, which is not this one, this is Ojai. And then we've also been building black and Yosemite interiors as well. But we'll be adding the rest of the colors in the months and weeks to come.
Nice. And has that been the bottleneck as parts, or is the ramp still challenging?
There's always challenges. I've worked for a bunch of different auto companies in my career. every single one of them have had challenges, so I wouldn't say that ours are any different than anyone else, their challenges, but obviously it's our second product. There's a lot of eyes on us, and we've got a lot of eager potential owners waiting, so we want to work through that.
Right. And if someone were to place an order today, what's the quickest they could get one?
They could get one relatively quickly if it were the right spec, like say, if it were a Grand Touring that was, very well equipped with a Tahoe interior, you could see one, in as soon as like 6 to 8 weeks. But if you have, let's say I ordered Lunar Silver with the Ojai interior, it probably won't be until later this year. Yeah.
And is there any concern with manufacturing? I know you guys spent a lot of time building out phase 2 there in Arizona. How are things going there?
Going well. I mean, obviously, if you follow Lucid sales and production, we've continued to have record quarters, pretty much every quarter for as long as I've been with the company, over a year, and production continues to go up. We're also building a new car factory in Saudi Arabia, so that'll be Lucid's second factory. So that's going to give us the ability to supply other markets outside of the U.S. From a central location as well. So production's up, that's for sure.
And is the Saudi Arabia factory going to be a knockdown or a full process? What do we?
We actually already have a knockdown factory. So the Lucid Airs and the Lucid Gravities that are sold in the Middle East go through that factory. So they're semi-knockdown kits, and then they're assembled. The final assembly point is actually there, which is a big point of pride in the country there. But we're actually building a fully integrated assembly plant with body shop, stamping, paint shop, and fully integrated assembly.
That's going to be great. The efficiency on this motor, I hear it's terrible.
Well, you heard wrong. That's, I think, one of the key underlying technologies for Lucid. We have some incredible people who have worked on putting together our powertrain systems. And I say systems because the drive unit is at the center of it, but everything around the drive unit is important as well. We've miniaturized the drive unit. We have a really strong thermal system, so we can keep it cool. It wastes less energy, therefore generates less waste heat, which allows us to reduce the size of the thermal system. But with that small package and all of that power density, it makes for a really efficient vehicle overall. It gives us the range advantage as well.
And is that the motor right there?
That is indeed. That is the Lucid drive unit.
So we're talking barely a watermelon.
Yeah, and it's funny, you can actually, if I pick that up, I can carry that myself. I've actually put them in a suitcase before and brought them on an airplane. It's that small and it's that light.
I'm sure they have questions, but
it does.
You can answer them.
It does raise some eyebrows, but it's something that you're capable of doing it given the size and mass.
Yeah, and what is the secret? You're going to tell me the secret to the super ultimate efficient motor. I'm sure it's nothing that would be too much to disclose, right?
Well, what's funny about that? The secret is everybody working together and thinking through the whole system, and not just, saying, hey, look, electric motors are inherently very efficient, so therefore we don't need to think about that. The team that actually, put together that drive unit, they thought about every detail of what surrounds it. So the secret is so many things and so many different smart people.
The secret is the symphony.
Exactly.
And how much would you say Lucid's pedigree in electric racing still permeates the design?
Well, I think, a lot of times auto companies use development on the track to inform how to make a road car better. And certainly we have a rich history there. I can't go into all the details on camera, but, from the beginning.
I'll point it somewhere else, and then you just keep talking and pretend that microphone's.
Yeah, if you look at the module design that Lucid or Ativa before us that had been used in motorsport, it looks very similar to what we put into production for the Air and the Gravity. So there's certainly a lot of learnings that benefited us there.
Very cool. All right. That's it. I'm going to head out and do a test drive now. I want to thank you for joining me, telling me all you can about Lucid and the Gravity. What did I miss? What did I misunderstand? Leave it, y'all. Leave it. And everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I can't wait to hear. Some of the